Just get a round of applause. This is the last talk of the day. Can we get a round of applause for these guys, Boris and Ted? I mean, come on.
Thank you.
If this isn't the best conference you've ever been to, you're pretty lucky. I've been to a bunch of conferences, and it's definitely one of my favorites. Thanks. What's going on? I think I know what's going on.
Thanks to all our speakers as well for giving amazing talks. Makes it a lot easier.
Why is my browser not behaving? Okay, you know what? I don't think it matters. Because I think I can just do that. Yeah, that'll be fine. Yeah, okay, great. Hi, everybody. How's it going? Oh, I got to stay close. Okay, great. So my talk today is called Bringing Hot Backups to Bluesky, or Making Exits More Credible. And when I found out I was going to be the last talk of the day, I figured I should go with a subtitle called Let's Get Out of Here, right? Like, it's been a great conference, but I'm ready to go home, get back to my family and my pets, and, you know, that'll be nice. But I also mean, let's get out of here, like the current state of the web is pretty bad. It's terrible. I've been on the web since that golden era of like 2006, 2008. I mean, programming professionally on the web since around then, and it was better then, and it felt better, and I think it was really better in tangible ways. But I also mean, let's get off the Bluesky PDS, right? Like, I love Bluesky. Trust me, well, let's talk about that a little bit. So who am I? Why am I talking to you? Well, I'm a web developer, I'm an engineering manager, I'm a music and dancing enthusiast. I like cats, chickens, and a toddler at home, so that's pretty fun. I'm a personal data store obsessive, and I'll talk about that just a little bit more in a second. I'm a certified Bluesky elder. Thank you for the certification, I do appreciate that. And I'm a Google Summer of Code 2005 alum, and the reason that's relevant is because Chris DeBana, who's here in the audience, is at least one of the people who was responsible for that, and that's how I got my start in programming. I was a sophomore in college, and I got a thing, and it got me into open source software. So thank you. That's literally the reason I'm here today. I've been obsessed with the idea of reorienting the web around personal data stores since about 2019. I spent a few years trying to seriously build a digital gardening platform on Solid. I missed a word there. That's Tim Berners-Lee's sort of like Bluesky PDS before Bluesky PDS. It does use RDF. It's a longer conversation, but before pivoting to work on tech that paid the bills at Protocol Labs, where I learned the Bluesky stack. It wasn't called the Bluesky stack at the time, but it is IPLD, SIDS, DIDS, etc. And I'm firmly convinced that credible exit from the services we use online is the key to re-empowering the web's users with agency and all sorts of different things. So let's talk about that. First, a brief version, what's a Racha? I am here because I work for a company that's building a thing, and I'm going to demo that thing. I want to just talk about this briefly because it's important context. We are content-addressed object storage. We store data by content ID and make it available via our high-performance IPFS gateway. We archive on the Filecoin network to ensure durability, which is a longer story that I'm happy to talk more about with folks. And uploaded content is stored as a car, which, yes, is a choice. And I have some fun utilities for that in a second. And then we have a gateway that sort of provides basic visualization of that and SID links and all sorts of stuff. We're an early stage startup. We're building with IPLD, SIDS, UCANs, and other open standards, and we love AppProto. So credible exit. I love it. I think we're on the right track, thinking about it a lot. But, you know, credibility is dampened when the exit procedure is a markdown file with pseudocode instructions. We need more user-facing services with real user experience that make exits credible for anybody. And to do this, we need a good system for creating hot backups of your app proto data alongside private key material to enable identity transfer. So it's demo time. So I am doing a demo. Good luck to me. Am I right? Let's see. Where did it go? Oh, I see what happened. I was in a completely different place. Okay, well, I'm shocked that worked at all. So let's talk about this a little bit. This was the starting point for this project, and this is what I mean by a README file. This is sort of the best way to transfer your account off a PDS right now. You sort of like, I don't know, put together some JavaScript and make this happen, and it works. It does the job, but obviously it's not super accessible to people. So let's talk. Today I made a profile, Blue Racha, and we are going to migrate Blue Racha off of the Bluesky PDS hopefully right now in this talk. Let's see if we can do it, okay? So welcome to hot Bluesky backups by Sriracha. We want to encrypt your data to keep it safe. We want to archive it to the Filecoin network for durability. If you'd like to migrate to a new Bluesky PDS server, you don't actually have to. You can just back up your data here and be reasonably certain that it's going to be sticking around in an open format that you can kind of work with later on. Important note, this is an early alpha sort of service. It's open source. You can come contribute to it. We'd be excited to have you do that. But there are a lot of rough edges, especially around the identity transfer and some things that we actually need support from the Bluesky community or the Bluesky team really to make better. So I'm excited to get into that a little bit too. So let's get it started. So my name was blueracha.bsky.social. And we use the OAuth flow here. It's great. It works really well. We definitely need some of those expanded OAuth scopes. In particular, it would be really nice to be able to get an email out of this. There's a step that you're not seeing here because I kind of cheated, and I signed into Sriracha already. Ideally, and hopefully within the next month or so, depending on how the OAuth stuff goes, we should have a way to just automatically sign you up for an account with our service, but when you go through that OAuth service. So you kind of literally don't even need to worry about us. Of course, if you want to store data with us, we're going to ask you for a credit card. We'll give you 2 gigs of storage for free, no problem, but we want to know who to go to if some of that data is bad data in a lot of different senses. And we want to obviously be able to charge you if you start storing too much data on the service. But you can use this for free, and if you're a normal Bluesky poster, your repo is probably under 100 megabytes, and probably the blobs that you're storing aren't that big either, and it should be plenty. So let's get into it. So this is how you create a backup right now. It's exposition heavy, obviously. There's a lot to know, and there's a lot of context to set up here. But the app itself is pretty straightforward. You just click these buttons. I logged into Sriracha, like I said. I created a space. There's a whole flow here for doing this. I'm not going to go into it right now. That is hand-waving away some pretty important details. But for the purpose of this demo, I'm not here to try to get you to use Sriracha. I'm here to tell you about a cool backup thing that I've been working on for the past few weeks, and I don't want to spend any more time on thinking about Sriracha than we need to at the moment. So this is the first backup that we've created. This is cool. One thing I think is really neat about this is because we're storing it on IPFS, because we have an IPFS gateway that has a lot of stuff built into it, we can actually just show you the car. So if you hate cars and you don't like having to crack them open with command line tools, well, this is another option. You can actually click on the links, and they'll actually bring you through. And I mean, this is kind of unintelligible, but you can see I liked a thing, and this is me, and there's like more stuff in here. So that's kind of cool. The blobs are also here. So let's see what this is. This is my profile picture, and what's this one? This is, oh yeah, I love this one. This is from like 1932 or something. Somebody wrote like an amazing birthday card thing. From me to you, whatever a technocrat is, it can't stop me from wishing you a happy birthday. So happy birthday. Now the problem is that this is a private piece of data, and I just uploaded it to our service, and we store public data. And so now my preferences are public. So that's terrible, right? So let's fix that. So the way we fix that is we start a new backup, and we create an encryption key. So let's create a key. What's going on here is that we are creating an RSA key that we can store in the browser that we can use to sign small amounts of data, and that also has a public key. RSA keys are great because they're public key bearer encryption, so we can refer to it by a DID, and we also created a symmetric key. So that was the asymmetric key is the RSA key, and then we created a symmetric key and encrypted that, stored it on our service, encrypted with the RSA key. This RSA key, by the way, is only going to live on this machine, which means that I need to get this secret. It actually literally only lives in memory in this browser. And actually, there's a bug where it's not even being kept in the correct memory. So when I go to the next screen, I'm going to have to re-enter this key. So I'm going to stash this key over here, where you can all see my private key. Enjoy, have fun. But now that we have a key, we can go in here, and we can create encrypted backups. OK, cool. This takes just a little longer, but honestly, it's pretty fast. Encryption even in the browser. I mean, encryption in the browser is a special thing. I thought it would take me like a day. It took me 3. But it worked out OK. And now let's go take a look at this other backup that we created. So now if I click on this preferences, is that really it? Oh, so did something go wrong? Well, it is a demo, isn't it? Usually what I've found when I do this with encryption enabled, oh, you know what I didn't do? That's so silly. OK, so I guess we're going to see this part. Yep, import key. OK, this is the experience if you're coming back. You go over to Emacs, and then you grab it, and then you copy it. I mean, you should be using 1Password, not Emacs, for keeping your secrets. I hope that's obvious. But today, we're going to do this. And I needed to actually turn on encryption for all these things. Duh. Now, one brief note on the encryption thing. One of our engineers pointed out that actually probably what we should be doing, rather than storing the encryption key, the symmetric encryption key in the browser, kind of associated with my top-level public key here, I should probably just create a separate encryption key per backup and use that and store it alongside the backup, so that kind of all you need to store locally is this private key. I think both are actually interesting. Maybe you want to create a key that sort of you use for many backups. Maybe you want to create some backups that use a one-off key. And we'll try to support both of those in the grand scheme of things. So now, yeah, there we go. Now when I load that preferences, nothing happens because it just downloaded a file, because it's just a bag of bits. I don't know what that bag of bits is. My repo is the same way. The blobs are going to be the same way, so I won't bore you with that. OK, so then what can we do with an encrypted version of this? OK, well, that's where we start to get pretty interesting. So now my data is encrypted on the server. Now let's say Bluesky gets bad. So like, we're designing for a situation where Bluesky, the company, might be adversarial. So let's in that situation, we would want to be able to sort of move off of Bluesky whenever we wanted. This is a simplified version of this. There's a whole bunch of hand waving. There's a lot of other stuff that needs to go into this. But for the basic directionality of it, I think this at least demonstrates kind of what we want to be thinking about in terms of actually setting up credible exit. Yep. OK, so right now there's a little bit of weirdness where you need to sort of set up both of the accounts that are going to participate in the identity transfer ahead of time. There is theoretically a way to sort of like set up the identity transfer ahead of time, stash it with the backup, and just go from there. I didn't get there. I don't know if it's actually possible with the current iteration of the identity transfer. I think it is, but I just didn't quite have time. And that wasn't how it was laid out in the markdown file that I based all this on. So we didn't get there this time. What I'm going to do instead is just authenticate to both of these services. So I just authenticated to the Bluesky PDS, and I set up another PDS at proto.sriracha.network. And now I'm going to create a new account here. I pushed some code to production today because I broke this yesterday, not realizing that you actually do need to log into the source account before you log into, before you're able to create a new Bluesky account at the moment. Because when you create this new Bluesky account, you need to be careful to give it the actual did PLC of the old account. Otherwise, it just won't work for now. So what we're going to do is say blueracha@proto.sriracha.network. And this is going to be Travis plus blueracha@sriracha.network. And I'm going to try to not say it out loud, but that's... and then, of course, you need an invite key from your PDS, which you generate on the command line. And hopefully this will work. Yeah, cool. All right, so we got this whole restore thing going on. So because it is going to require, I mean, I'm not going to play with fate. We need to actually import the key again. This is really annoying. Yeah. Okay. My hands are also shaking, so it's like even harder to type because that's just what I do when I'm speaking. But it worked. Okay, great, cool. And now we can restore. I mean, and if you really want to like, if you don't trust me that this is what's happening, let's prove it. So we just did some stuff. We got the data. We did import repo here. That's the important thing for that. Okay, great. Step 1. Let's import the blobs. We'll bring them over to the new. Yeah, okay, that worked. And let's import the preferences. Remember, these were encrypted. So we are taking them out of the Sriracha network. We're decrypting them. We're sending them over to our new PDS. And it all worked. Okay, last step. We're all set up, the account's there, but Bluesky doesn't know that my identity has moved to the new service, right? So to do that, first, we have to send an email to the email that was set up with our current Bluesky host. This is pretty standard for basically all of the PLC operations. You get a code over here. You shouldn't share it with anybody. I'm sharing it with all of you. Please don't steal things. I mean, I think once I use it here, it's not going to be possible to use it again. So, beat ya. And now we can actually transfer our identity. Ooh, let's go. Let's see what happens. Now, okay, a little bit of context for this. This is actually exciting because I literally pushed some code like 15 minutes ago because I had an idea about why this wasn't working. When I tested this morning, what happened was I transferred my identity and it broke. It definitely worked because it broke my account on Bluesky. It didn't work anymore. And I think what happened was that I activated the new account, but I didn't deactivate the old account. So Bluesky just got super confused. It was like, well, the content's on, I just couldn't figure it out. I have also noticed that when these identity transfers go through, they don't necessarily stick immediately. Like it takes a little time for the network to sort of catch up. So if this doesn't work, I'm going to blame one of those things, but it's probably my fault. So, it is what it is. So, but let's give it a shot. Yeah, see, the deactivated account didn't work, but that's fine. That's fine. The activated account did. It's just, it thinks it failed because this deactivated account didn't seem to work. Whatever. The important part was this submit PLC operation and this activate account. And so let's see what happened to our account. Yeah, sadly, sadly not quite working. But what I have found is that sometimes this goes away after a little time, like the network kind of catches up and it starts showing it again. And the important thing is that something really happened. Like there's a bug here, obviously, with how this is working, but transfers are possible. You can do it today. Like I said, all of this is open source. We would love to have you come and check it out. That is basically, oh yeah, here we go. Boy. Yeah, you're really getting to see the sausage being made here. All right. So like I said, it's open source. We'd love contributions. We'd love people to come and copy it and deploy it on their own. In fact, our whole stack is open source. If you want to run your own Sriracha, that's possible. Have fun with the Cloudflare and AWS configuration, because we sure do. But one of the reasons I feel so good and happy to come here and give this talk is because we are building on open source tools and people can credibly exit from our service as well. Even if you don't want to run your own Sriracha, actually, this whole stack basically works with, I mean, you need a few minor changes to the way data is onboarded, but it works with open source IPFS tooling. If you want to run your own IPFS node and like do this all on your own community, you can do that pretty simply. I will make the code changes for you. Just come tell me you want to do it, and I swear to God I'll do it within the week. Oh boy. Okay, so where are we going? Where are we going? Well, okay, so real recovery key backups. It would be nice to not have to, when I decide that I actually want to transfer my identity, it would be nice to not have to, in that moment, go and actually do the transfer or set it up. It would be nice to be able to go into Bluesky, get a key, save it somewhere, have my own key that protects that key, and just be able to do that anytime I want. The real like eject button for getting out of the whatever PDS you happen to be on, I think that's really important, and hopefully we'll have that. We're going to try to get all this stuff done in the next month. We'll see. Repository diffs. So right now, if we've backed your repository up before, we're just going to back it up again. We'll do exactly the same thing. But Bluesky and AppProto are smarter than that. You can just say, hey, give me everything that has changed since this last commit rev. And we do keep the last commit rev that we knew about in the metadata that we store. And so we can do that. That'll be like a moderate space saving, but it's neat, and we should do it. Per backup encryption keys, like I said, it should be an option to at least create a one-off encryption key specifically for your backup. Hourly and minutely backups. So everything that I just showed you is running in the browser. There's no server involved except for like the storage. The data, your Bluesky data, never touches our servers except in that final storage phase. So if you're encrypting it, we literally never see the unencrypted bytes. It's all happening in your browser. we would like to offer a service where you can come in, do the Bluesky OAuth, and just say, I would like my thing backed up every hour. I would like my Bluesky PDS and the whole account backed up every hour. Can you just do that for me? And we're going to say, sure. How about like $1 a month? I don't know. That sounds good. We'll figure out the pricing for it, and we'll just take care of that for you. That is going to require us having a server that's running somewhere doing that on a regular basis. Obviously, we can't like force you to open your browser once an hour and do that. That's insane. But so some sort of service that does this is on our roadmap literally for the next month. In that world, the whole concept of like end-to-end encryption gets a little bit more complicated, and like where encryption even falls in there. What we're looking at right now is something called the LIP protocol. It's a private key management network. It does threshold encryption. So you could say, I would like there are 7 people in my life, and if 5 of them decide that they should be able to see my encrypted, Bluesky backups, they should be able to. Lots of different use cases for that, but in general, we are built on top of the notion of cryptographic identity, and so we don't really want to have to solve the whole problem. We'd like somebody else to solve the problem of managing cryptographic identities and tying them together and all that stuff. And so that's kind of an exciting thing that we will probably not have in the next month necessarily, but we're going to make moves in that direction at least very soon. And then your feature requests. I don't know how this should work. Like at the end of the day, like I want the app protocol community to help me understand exactly what is needed here, what sorts of functionality, what sort of UX we really need to make exiting really, really credible. So thank you. I want to do a special shout out. We've had a lot of open source contributions here. The Protocol Labs Developer Guild is a program that brings in contributors to a variety of different open source projects that sort of came out of the general Protocol Labs diaspora. Caleb, Badger, and Shub have been incredible contributors of the past month and a half, and the fact that it looks as polished as it does is largely due to the fact that they've been putting in a lot of time and effort and working with our team really closely to do that. Caleb in particular has also created a repo called Bluesky Backup CLI. A lot of what you just saw is implemented as like a CLI in the Bluesky Backup CLI, and we're going to try to make it so that that is at feature parity with the web app, and that the web app has sort of a client version and a server version for maximum flexibility. So. Thanks so much. Like I said, I work for Sriracha. I have some swag. I'm going to be sitting out there. I don't want to make this about that, but like if you like hats and stuff, I've got some nice hats. I've got some nice bags. I've got some cool stickers, and I'll be hanging out. Thank you so much. Thank you again to Boris and Ted. This has been the most inspiring weekend I've had in a very long time, so thank you sincerely.
Thank you, Travis.